Chapter 3, Big Idea, is going to practice experiments. Chapter 3 is about experiments and observations. You're going to be performing an experiment on the 40 subjects that you collected in Chapter 2. You are not going to need to collect a new sample. You're going to use the sample of the subjects that you collected in Chapter 2. You're going to have to come up with an experiment that involves giving these islanders a treatment. You need to research the type of treatment you want to give the islanders based on the tasks that are available. So if you visit the islands and you are in one of your contexts, you can see, if you haven't already, the tasks that you can give to this particular islander. I've run a couple of these tasks, and you can see I've given them a spirometer, which measures their pulmonary function. I've also had this person jog uphill, and then I've remeasured their spirometer reading to see if there was a change. So what you're going to do is find a treatment, make sure the islander is consented to your study. If they happen to drop out of your study, you just go with fewer and fewer subjects in your sample. Make sure that you understand how the islanders work, and you can do this through the visitor center. So you want to go to the visitor center, and there's a video about the islanders and how to work with them. You'll notice that the data happens in real time. So if they are drinking a soda, you're going to have to wait for them to drink that soda. If you're going to measure maybe their blood pressure, you're going to have to wait while you can see the dialog box go on the computer, how long it's going to take to measure their blood pressure. So please visit that link on the islands to understand how this works before you go out and try to collect some data. What I did was I measured their spirometer. Here's their reading. And then what I did after that was I made them jog uphill. And then I went immediately and measured their spirometer reading. If I was to give them caffeine or some substance, I would have to wait some length of time for that to have some effect on their body by entering their blood system. How long does that take? That's for you to determine. So do some research from the tasks that are available, figure out what you want to do, and note that you're going to need a protocol. You're going to need some consistent measure of how long you wait for each subject before you take their post-measurement. Essentially, what you're doing is a matched pair that we studied in Chapter 1. This is the null hypothesis. This is the difference. We're assuming that there is no difference. Therefore, the difference between them is zero. No difference. I'm not sure if running is going to change their pulmonary reading on their spirometer. So what I'm going to do is say there's no difference. So what you're going to do once you get the data is put it into the Google Doc that you've already started. You already have all these people, subjects in a Google Doc. You're going to put their pre, their post, and the difference between those. Please reach out if you have questions or concerns.